Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my GTA Online Diamond Casino Heist Mastery Guide. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about vault looting strategies. In other words, how to be as efficient and as quick as possible when you're inside of the vault to maximize your take given the situation. And to do that, I'm going to go over my strategy for each vault content on each type of approach, as long as they're different, because what you'll come to find out is that a lot of the vault contents have a similar strategy. So let's start out with the easiest one of them all, artwork. First of all, I recommend doing artwork with only 2 people. With the best hacker, you'll have more than enough time to grab every single piece from the vault. And having the best hacker does give you some freedom with the strategy you want to use. If you only have one person who is good at hacking, you can have that player unlock all the doors, and the player designated to looting the vault will follow. There should always be one painting that isn't behind any doors at the start that the looter can grab while the hacker is unlocking the first door, and if the hacker is fast enough, there should be no time wasted where the looter is waiting for the hacker to open a door. If you're doing an aggressive artwork approach with only 2 people and the best hacker hired, the strategy doesn't really change that much. The only thing that really changes is that it doesn't matter whether a player can hack or not, because you're opening doors with the thermal charges. But thermal charges do have their own set of strategies. Basically, you want to get rid of your thermal charges before you even start looting anything. You want to place one, and while that one is burning through the lock, you want to run over to the other doors and wait for the notification to place another one down. The reason for doing this is you aren't able to loot anything while the thermal charge is active. It's stupid, I know. So instead of just standing next to a painting, wasting time waiting for the game to let you grab it, you instead use that time for moving around the vault to put the other charge down. It's really not something that people will think about when doing the heist, but the fact is, running around the vault does take time, so being efficient and strategic as you maneuver the vault is only going to save you more time. If you don't have the best hacker, let's say you hire the 5% hacker or something, there is a technique you can use to extend your time in the vault on the aggressive approach. I will show that a little later into the video in detail when we talk about the other vault contents. And if you have the 5% hacker on, say, the Big Con or the Silent Sneaky approach with artwork, you're gonna need to split the hacking up between 2 people that are really good at it. You're not gonna be able to grab all of the artwork in time if you do the designated 1 looter and 1 hacker. Now, the reason I wanted to do artwork first is because that one is the only one where the general strategy is a bit different. So to make the video shorter, I'm going to group cash, gold, and diamonds into one category. Cash, gold, and diamonds all use the exact same placements in the vault. There are 2 different ways the loot is placed about for each. One setup will have A, B, and C all out in the open, and the other one will have A and B out in the open, but C locked away most of the time behind 2 doors. What makes them different is how long it takes to grab each vault content. Cash takes 38 seconds to grab, diamonds take 33, and gold takes 25 seconds. And to clarify, that means per trolley. But with that in mind, cash with 2 players is completely out of the question. It's just not worth it. And by now, I'm sure you guys already know that. My 3 to 4 man strategy for these 3 vault contents is to assign 1 or 2 people as the hackers who are going to open all the doors. So right when you enter the vaults, the hackers would run in separate directions towards the doors to open them, and the looters will collect the loot that is out in the open while they wait for the doors to be opened. And if there are no more doors to be opened, then the hackers can either collect the loot, if there's any left, or they can drill into the deposit boxes with the time they have left. If cash is your objective, then as a hacker you will most likely have to collect some cash just because of the time it takes to grab one objective. If everyone on the team can hack effectively, then it only makes things much easier, because then each of you can just go a separate way and collect the loot that they open the doors to. But really you only need 3 hackers because there's only 3 ways you can go. If you utilize these methods, you should have no problem getting all of the loot before the time runs out on either cash, gold, or diamonds. Now, if you only have 2 players, it's going to be a little more complicated, and it's going to require very concise choices. The first concise choice is to never do cash with 2 players. Now, if you do gold with 2 players using the best hacker, there is a possibility to grab all of the gold with a few exceptions. Number 1, it requires objective C to be out in the open with A and B. And 2, it requires both of the players to be very good at the fingerprint hack. If only one person is good at hacking, then just forget about it. The technique to do this is to grab the gold in the open at the very end. You want to loot the vault starting at the outer layer, grabbing the gold behind the bars, and at the end, come back to the inner layer and grab the loot near the front. The reason I'm showing footage of 3 people doing this is because when you do get the setup where A, B, and C are out in the open, G always seems to glitch out for me, and when this happens, there's literally nothing you can do but sit there and let the gas kill you, in which case you'll have to restart the whole heist. So the chances of you being able to pull this off are very slim at the moment. at least until they fix this annoying gold glitch. If C isn't out in the open, then you don't have to worry about that glitch happening. You can either designate one hacker or you can both hack, whichever you choose, and you just have to ignore C. It's going to be behind 2 hacks most likely, and you aren't going to have enough time to grab it even with the best hacker. But you should have no problems getting everything else as long as you're decent at hacking. Getting diamonds with 2 players, you are always going to need 2 really good hackers using the outer to inner strat to make it profitable. Unlike gold, it doesn't matter which setup you have in the vault, you are always going to leave around 1.5 trays of diamonds behind, which equates to around a 3 million take, which is really good for 2 players. You always want to assign one of the objectives that you're just going to completely ignore. Most of the time it's going to be C since it's usually behind 2 doors, but since C can sometimes be in the open, it's best to just communicate to your teammate which one you're going to ignore. And the reason you want to save the loot in the open for last is because it's the closest to the exit, which lets you stop looting at a later time. To further clarify what I'm talking about, because that kind of sounds confusing, I'm just going to show you from start to finish a really good 2-man diamonds vault run.
Did somebody say diamonds? You should have, right there on the carts. Good news, seeing as we stayed under the radar, we have a little more time here. Now, your hacker can block the security sensors while you're in the vault, but only for a while. If the system goes quiet for too long, it triggers the alarm as a failsafe. And, did I mention that if the alarm goes off in here, they'll flood the place with nerve agent? No? Okay, well, I'm mentioning it now. Seconds. 30 seconds before the failsafe alarm, so make the most of it. Seconds. Perfect. Now get out before they smell a rat. Gas incoming. 10 seconds. That's it. The alarm will trigger any second. In and out undetected.
Notice how he stopped looting at 7 seconds, and because we were so close to the exit already, it allowed us to escape in time, preserving our stealth. If he had been in any other location, say like behind one of the doors or behind 2 of the doors, he would have had to stop looting way ahead of time to give him time to run out of the vault. Now, regarding the aggressive approach, it's a little different because obviously you have a lot less time in the vaults. I don't really recommend doing an aggressive heist with either gold or especially diamonds because you're going to seriously be cut on time. You still want to plant the thermal charges in an efficient way so you aren't waiting around doing nothing, but the main downside of doing the aggressive approach is that you have a very limited time in the vault because you aren't trying to preserve your stealth like the other two. Well, we're actually going to turn that into a positive to give your team more looting time. You want to make sure that whoever the host of the heist is started it up as a CEO and not an MC president. That is very important. Then when the time runs out, the CEO or the host has to leave the vault and stand still. This will activate the associate health regen for being in proximity of the CEO and will counter the tick damage that you take from the gas, at least for a certain while. Eventually it's not going to assist you anymore and you will start to take damage over time, and that's when you have to get out. But believe me when I say this trick is super useful. And you know what, instead of just telling you, why don't I show you? Here's a real-time situation where I used this on a diamonds heist to increase our total take by a huge amount after our time was up. Keep in mind that after a certain point of the gas being deployed, you won't be able to loot anything, so make sure you get on whichever objective you want to grab before the gas gets too bad. But yeah, as you guys just saw, I was able to stay in the vault over 30 seconds longer. I managed to grab a whole trolley of diamonds in that time. You will have to eat snacks on the way out to stay alive, so just make sure you are stocked up on those, and make sure you also know how to do the trick to eat them fast in first person when you're aiming a gun. But just imagine this trick with a 4-man team. The CEO leaves the vault and all 3 of the other people stay in there to grab another trolley. That's insane. And that is going to wrap up the vault strategies. I hope this was able to help some of you guys out. This is also probably going to conclude the Mastery Guide series unless some other changes are made that require some explanations, or I find something that I want to share that I haven't talked about already. If you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.